Most beginning hobby farmers overlook some important things before they jump right in. Luckily for you, we have a list of 5 things you should consider before building a coop, planting some seeds, or bringing home that goat. They're just so adorable. So here we go. Hey, thanks for joining us at the new Hobby Farm Guys channel. Before we get into the 5 things you should consider, I just kind of have a question I was wondering about. You guys have raised a lot of chickens, so if you could, what is one chicken breed that you'd like to get that you have not previously owned?
Ooh, good question.
That is a good question. You want to go?
I know it's
Sure.
a good question.
The one I've been thinking about, the breed that I've been considering that I want that I don't have, is the Pilgrim Goose. Which doesn't answer your question because
Which chicken breed is that?
because it's not a chicken. If I have to limit myself to chicken, I'm going probably Death Layer or Jersey Giant.
Yeah, you seem like
Never had either one of them. They both seem like awesome chickens.
I would say I recently started a flock of Buckeye chickens, and when I was narrowing down what chicken breed I was going to start with in this flock, it came down to Buckeyes or Chanticleers, and I really liked them. They were a cold, hardy Canadian breed, and they would fit in well around here. So that would be my choice.
All right, great choices. For me, I'm going with Kentucky Fried Chicken breed. So excellent flavor.
Right on.
I love them.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. We like that. So 5.5 years ago when we got going, one of our first videos ever was 5 things all hobby farmers need to consider.
I think that was actually our
Yeah.
very
first video.
Yeah.
Number one.
But let's jump into things you should consider before starting your hobby farm, and some of your guys' advice before you got in, and now what you've learned with all these years of experience.
Yeah. I think number one on our list was goals, right? You got to understand what your goals are
Absolutely.
because that makes a big difference, right? Am I in it to make money, to make an income, to try and be self-sufficient? Am I in it because I love Highland cows and I want fluffy cows and I've wanted fluffy cows since I was a kid and I don't care how much it costs me or how much work I have to do because I'm going to have fluffy cows, right? Or you know, what is it? What are your goals? Because that's going to make a difference on what you spend and how it works out and kind of what those expectations are.
Yeah, different people are going to have different reasons why they want to have a flock of chickens, for example. Some people may want the eggs. Some people may want meat. Some people are looking for a dual purpose. Some people want a pet, or they want an ornamental breed just for the aesthetics of them wandering around.
Right. Back to our earlier discussion, I mean, with my breeds, you know, hey, am I in this because I am passionate about this breed and I want to develop it and breed it and improve the breed? Or I just really don't care, I just want some eggs, right? That's going to make a difference when you go chicken shopping and how you have your setup, you know, whether I'm going to do clan mating or line mating, all these different things that come into play. So goals are a big one.
So,
Go ahead.
So what were your guys' goals, I guess, when you got started?
For me, it's self-sufficiency. I want to be
Prepper?
kind of. I am very much into self-sufficiency, right? I have solar panels and battery backup. I have a huge garden. I do a lot of my own butchering and those types of things, just so I have that skill set and I have that knowledge, wells, those types of things. So for me, it was more about, you know, being able to make sure that I can provide for myself as things get crazy. But I also enjoy other aspects as well.
I think for me, the main goal was I just wanted food that tasted better. That's why I planted a garden, was to get some vegetables that tasted better than what I could buy in the grocery store. Same thing with farm fresh eggs. I bought chickens because I wanted some farm fresh eggs, and the idea of having fresh chickens that I knew what they were fed and were going to taste better than what I could buy from my local grocery store. So that was my main goal, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. I've listened to you guys for quite a while, and I think you guys enjoy just watching your animals out on the farm. So
That's a bonus.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I can
I'm
sit
not
out on the
saying I
back
don't-
porch and watch
Other than
them.
when the turkeys want to take a nap under the deck next to my bedroom window and gobble all afternoon.
Yeah.
all right, well, let's go on to number 2. That's number 1.
I think number 2 was resources, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody has the same resources available. Steve mentioned before he's got 10 acres of land that he can do different things with. He can plant a pasture. He can have a a larger garden, an orchard. He can raise cows if he wants to. Whereas some people might only have a quarter acre, and that includes their house. Or maybe they live in an apartment building, and there's nothing saying if you're in an urban environment, you can't be a hobby farmer. It's just going to be smaller scale, and you're going to be limited on what resources are available to you.
Right. Maybe I live, in the middle of the neighborhood and I've got some quail in the basement and a little hydroponic system set up. That's hobby farming. You're doing your thing, right? And that there's
An
nothing
herb
wrong
garden
with that.
on the
But it's-
windowsill.
But it's going to change, right?
Yeah.
Like I say, different things. What type of soil do you have? What's your climate like, right? For us, again, I'm a big gardener. We live in a climate where if you haven't got some sort of a hoop house or something, you really struggle with a lot of crops because
It's a very short growing
we,
season.
we froze in the middle of June, and chances are we're going to freeze before August is done.
It wasn't the middle of June, it was early June.
It was the 14th.
Was it really?
We had I don't know that we actually hit.
Oh,
We had a
wow.
frost warning. My place didn't
Yeah.
freeze. We got low, but we didn't freeze. But we have before. In fact,
So yeah, short growing
a
season.
few years ago, we froze on the 4th of July at my place.
Yeah.
So, where is your house?
Here in Southeast Idaho. But Eric's email address is.
Yeah. Come on over. We're all friends.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on resources?
I don't think Steve pretty much
Yeah.
covered
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
So let's move on to number 3. You remember what it was?
We're waiting for you to tell us. Eric, we're not. You got to start pulling your weight now. You're no longer behind the camera. It's time to step it up, bring your A game, and give us some information. What do you got?
You were the one who looked up the old video. What did we talk about?
Well, I'm going to say number 3 is cost, or looking at your own budget.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a big deal. Of course.
Yeah.
so if you were going to get in, let's say you just wanted some chickens. I live in the city on a lot. I said, I just want to grab some chickens for the backyard. What kind of budget or cost do you think I'm having to get into?
Well, that's going to vary a lot depending on how many chickens you want, what type of chickens you want, what are you getting them for. But let's say you wanted half a dozen chickens. You're going to have to build a coop with enough space for them. You're probably looking at, well, on the low end, using recycled materials, a few $100s. Most people are probably going to spend somewhere in the $800 to $1,500.
Yeah.
That's just for a coop.
And I mean, I think that's a big one with budget. Is it varies widely, and it can. As a hobby farmer, you do what works for you, right?
Mhm.
I built a turkey coop out of solid 2x12s,
Right.
right? When during the pandemic, when 2x12s weren't cheap, I mean that turkey coop cost more than my house, but it's cool looking. I love it. I've gone through and did like the
Right.
Shoshugigan with the charred wood, and I love it.
It's a work of art.
But there are other people who are like, I'm going to grab this free pallet I found at the Home Depot and I'm going to strap a tarp over it because I don't have the funds to go do that. And that's going to work, right? Now, there's concerns about predation and being set up for that kind of stuff. And those are lessons we learn along the way. But you don't have to have a huge budget to have a farm. And that's the hobby farming typically implies that you're doing it kind of for fun. And so typically we tend to lose money on hobby farms.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, oh, I want my chicken coop to look pretty. I don't just want a regular chicken coop. It needs to be fancy, right? So I'm going to spend extra money on it. So, but you can do it on whatever budget you have. But it's going to change, right? If I've got the low budget, I may not have, the fancy coop or a whole bunch of different things. I may be planting in the ground instead of raised beds.
And when you're dealing with anything related to agriculture, prices fluctuate a lot too. So a couple of years ago, you might have been able to get half a dozen Leghorn hens for, $10. Now, you're looking at maybe $4 or $5 a piece when you buy those chicks. So, the prices change a lot, and you got to be prepared for that too.
Yeah.
So you got to know how much you're willing to spend on whatever it is you're going to do, and stick to that budget too. If it's going to cost way more than what you anticipated, scale back a little bit.
Sure.
But just like with your goals and your resources that are available, think through your budget and how much things are going to cost. And actually look up real numbers and figure this out before you start building that coop,
Right.
before you
You
start.
bring the goat home and then
tilling
figure out
that
it's
soil.
going to cost me $6,000 to put a fence up.
Right.
ouch, right?
Right.
So maybe understand the cost of a fence before I bring the goat home.
Yep.
On my budget, I just reach over the fence and grab the apple off the neighbor's tree.
There you go.
That's what I can afford.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to number 4. Do you need me to give you this one too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Time.
It's time.
Discuss time.
That's the big one.
So I know all three of us, like I mentioned before in videos, we work at the same place. And that same place is quite a ways away from where we live. It's kind of in a remote area. So it'll take us an hour or more just to get to work, another hour or more just to get home. And then we work out there for 10 and a half hours a day. There's not a whole lot of time in the day.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into consideration. We're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, give or take a little bit. If you have to get up earlier because you've got to feed the chickens or milk a cow or milk a goat, it's going to eat up a lot of your time. But if you live near you where you work, or if you're retired, that's going to change things dramatically in what you're going to be able to do. But I'll just say this. Most hobby farming endeavors are going to take up more time than what you think they're going to. So start small and then expand from there.
Yeah. And time and budget are interrelated.
Yeah, they
Right.
really
So
are.
for example, I love gardening. I also like to go camping. It's tough to go camping for an extended time in July or August in Idaho when the temperatures are in the high 90s to 100.
Yep.
Because your garden dries up and dies, right? But if I invest and now I have automatic watering systems that come on and water my garden for me, I don't have to spend that time moving water on the garden,
Right.
but I had to spend the money. So sometimes they're interrelated.
Yep.
But that's another thing to think about is, time. It's the reason why I don't have a dairy animal. I am unwilling to get up and milk an animal every day. I'll go pay someone else who wants to do that for milk
Right.
if that's the case. But there are things that, animals take time, plants take time, those types of things. So budget that in.
Yeah, and I think you both like to spend a lot of time caressing your animals, holding your chickens, petting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where your time
why
is.
not?
I'm not going to say
If you
I
say
haven't
so.
snuggled a chicken or a rabbit.
Right. I've held them. I got grandkids. They love the chickens. So, yeah, there's times when I go out there to the coop and grab a chicken and hold it and let the kids come over and pet it. And yeah.
Good radish.
And I know Steve really likes your rooster, friendly. So.
Yeah, we'll save that story
Yeah.
for another video,
time.
maybe.
All right, let's get to our last item here, number 5. Legal issues. You guys ever ran into any legal issues?
Have I run into legal issues? Not that I can think of. Are they out there? I suppose I have. Before I lived in the house I currently am in, I lived in a neighborhood that was under a homeowners association. And guess how many chickens I was allowed to have? 0. Guess why I don't live there anymore? That's just part of the reason. But yeah, I would have loved to have had a flock of chickens. There was enough space in that yard that I had. I would have loved to do it, but it wasn't allowed.
Yep.
So
There are lots of zoning and restrictions out there. We had a neighbor down the road from us buy a bunch of land. They thought they were going to put a feedlot there. Bought it, did everything, and then realized it's not zoned for that. They're not approved for that. They ended up taking the shorts, which I was happy for because I didn't really want a feedlot.
you don't want a
next
feedlot
door.
right next door?
Not that I don't live within just a few miles of me. I've got dairies and feedlots, but not right next door. But also things like insurance, right? What type of farm do I have? Is it one of those farms like it's a U-pick or something? What if somebody gets hurt? What if one of my animals gets out on the road and causes an accident? Insurance and those types of things are going to be things you want to consider as well. If that's going to be something you want to do, keep in mind that a lot of these things aren't going to be covered by a regular homeowner's policy. If you're going to start putting up outbuildings and animals, you're going to need a different expanded policy. So those
yeah,
are
you
things
might
to
need
consider as well.
permits to build, the barn that you want, things like that.
Sure.
So just make sure you know what all the legal requirements are, what the rules are for your city, your county, your neighborhood, your state, whatever it might be.
Or build a really tall fence and then watch our videos about which chicken breeds are quietest and those types of things so that you can learn how to.
I mean, that's another approach.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we'll probably get into some of these legal issues in the future and discuss them a little more. But
Oh yeah.
so there you have it. 5 things you should always consider before diving into hobby farming.
Yep.
So what do you think?
I think
Yeah.
hobby farming is awesome. It's worth it. Like I say, time, money. There's going to be some costs involved. You got to consider your resources, what your goals are. But
Do
like I
your
say,
research.
I've been doing it for 20 years.
That's
You've
what
been
it
doing it
comes
for
down to.
over 6 or 7 years. We both love it. Wouldn't change it for the world. So
Yeah.
enjoy it. Make it yours and have fun.
So keep on hobby farming. We'll see you next time.